Okay, there we go. All right, so hand towel rolled up along the long edge. So got this sausage. Come into a position with that hand towel underneath you and sit over it. All right. So just bring your feet back flat to the floor. So you're on the front of your chair, or if you're sitting, you can sit on the floor over this and cross legs, that's fine. And we're just going to start to rock our weight forwards and backwards along the towel. So come back into a pelvic tilt and forwards into a pelvic tilt. So you could imagine that pelvis we were talking about earlier like a bowl. And as you rock back, you're tipping water out the back of the bowl. And as you rock forward, you're tipping water out the front of the bowl. So you're rocking back, and you should start to be able to become aware as you do this movement of the tailbone at the back and the pubic bone at the front. So just noticing those 2 points, which form the front and the back of your pelvic floor. Maybe close the eyes. This is really nice for the lower back too. So just taking your time here to bring your awareness into your pelvis, seeing how everything feels. If anything feels uncomfortable, then by all means back off a bit. Don't go too deep. Okay, come back into an upright position. And then we're just going to very gently see if we can rock a little bit from side to side. So we're thinking about finding the 2 sitting bones. So you'll go to the left and one sitting bone will come down. You'll go to the right and the other one will come down. So you can feel that those 2 bones form the sides of the pelvic floor. Again, this is quite nice little mobilization. Doesn't have to be a big movement. Come back into the center. Now, all of those 4 bones, the side sitting bones, the pubic bone, and the tailbone, they're your anchor points for the muscles, the sling of muscles that create the pelvic floor. So actually your towel is representing front to back muscles. So see if you can bring your awareness now right into the very center of those 4 points. So that's where your perineum is. So that's the bit of muscle and skin in between your vagina and your anus. That's your perineum. So as you inhale, we already know that the belly relaxes and the pelvic floor softens and relaxes. And as you exhale, just see if you can imagine those 4 points, front and back, side to side, drawing into the center to that perineum and a little lift up. It doesn't have to be a strong movement, but a sense of lifting up. And then inhale and relax. Just relax everything. Relax. And as you exhale, we're going to exhale through the mouth again. See if you can feel the sense of those muscles coming in to the center and lifting up. So these are all of the muscles of the pelvic floor. So just keep going. The ones responsible for our, there's muscles that sort of wrap around the exit to the urethra at the front, so our bladder. And there's muscles that wrap around our anus as well. So they're like circular muscles. So as you exhale and draw up, it's like you're stopping yourself, going for a wee and holding in a pop, as we're calling them in our house these days. So inhale, relax, and exhale, drawing everything in and up. Now you can do this at any stage in pregnancy, even towards the end, because it's great to have good connection with your pelvic floor. But really, if you're at the end of your pregnancy, close to your due date, you want to just focus more on the softening, more on the expanding and the inhale and the relaxing. And you maybe just as you exhale, just relax and don't contract those muscles quite so much, especially if you know what you're doing and you tend to really grip those pelvic floor muscles. You just want to relax them now. But depending on where you are and what you're working on, you're either lifting as you exhale or you're just softening and focusing on the relaxing on the inhale. And it doesn't feel like you're doing much when you do pelvic floor exercises, but you really, really are. It takes a lot of mental concentration and a lot of physical concentration. It doesn't matter if your glutes are getting a little bit involved, but we're not focusing on those muscles, we're focusing on those pelvic floor muscles. And also don't worry if you can't feel it very well and your connection's not great down there. That's really common, but with practice it gets better. So just a couple more of those lifts on the exhale Imagining all of those sling of muscles drawing into the center, so side to side and forwards and backwards, right into the middle, and then lifting. And your lower belly may move in and up as you do that lift. And see how everything is for you. We'll do one more. Good, lovely. And then just relax everything. If you feel uncomfortable on your towel, you can come off it, but you can stay on it if it helps you connect. So completely up to you. Going to stay on the chair and just do a little bit of upper body mobilization. When pelvic girdle pain, people, grab one of your cushions and bring it in between your legs, in between your thighs. So you're just gently holding it there, not squeezing it, you're just holding it. So if you let your legs go, it would fall out, but you're only lightly holding it there. So you're going to keep that there. Other ladies, you can go a little bit wider, plant your feet flat on the floor, just feel nice and stable. Okay, we're going to sweep the arms out and up as we inhale, shoulders are soft, lift the heart, and then as you exhale, hands to the heart center, press the palms a little bit, and lift the chest to the heart. Inhale. Remember, as we inhale, the pelvic floor relaxes, and as we exhale, the pelvic floor lifts. So we're kind of opposite to what our arms are doing. But there's a sense of the hands meeting the pelvic floor as the pelvic floor lifts, as the hands descend. So you can do lifts here off the pelvic floor if you like, or you can just focus on hand movement. It's up to you. Do one more big circle of the arms. And then exhale, hands to the heart. We're going to turn to our right, so just gently rotating the spine. Our left hand's going to come across to the outside of the right knee, and our right hand's going to come to the floor behind us or the back of the chair, wherever it feels comfortable to hold, depending on what kind of chair you've got. If you've got your little cushion in between your knees, I want you to just focus on those knees and hips staying forwards as you gently rotate. And think about the most rotation coming up in the chest and shoulders. You can turn your head to the side. Think about lengthening the neck and really nice deep breaths into the rib cage. Good, coming back to the front. So we're going to inhale, circle the arms. Relax the pelvic floor. Exhale, drawing in and up, everything comes to center. And we're turning to the left, so rotating the chest. Reach the right hand across, left hand behind. Sit nice and tall. Think about making space in the front body for baby, space in the sides of the waist as you turn. Breathe deep. And then relax, exhale, come round to the front. Inhale, reach the arms overhead. Take hold of the right wrist with the left hand. Then gently draw that arm up, so gentle pull on that wrist, and come over to side bend to the left. So just as far as feels comfortable, breathe deep. Breathe into that, feel that lovely long stretch down the right side. Opening up through the sides of the lower back, through the rib cage, through the shoulder, and then rise back up on an inhale. Swap sides as you exhale, holding onto the left wrist. Inhale, rise up, and exhale over. So just gently drawing that wrist over to the side, and think about lifting up and over. So making as much space as you can. Keep the chest lifted, breathe. Inhale, come all the way back up. Separate the hands, then circle them round back behind you. If you're on a chair, you can hold on to the back of the chair or the sides of the chair. If you're on the floor, fingertips to the floor behind you. Squeeze the shoulder blades together, lift the chest and open the front of the body. And then really breathe into that. So when we're pregnant, we tend to round the shoulders forwards, and this gets worse after baby's born. So we really want to think about opening the heart, lifting the chest, drawing those shoulder blades together. Gentle extension. Good, and then releasing, coming back to the center. We're going to take the right ear to the right shoulder. If you're sitting on a chair and you can easily hold on to the chair, you can just take your left fingertips and hold on to the side of the chair. Don't worry if not, just place your fingertips out to the side or to the floor. Take your right arm up and over so your hand gently rests on the side of the head, and just without pushing, let the weight of the arm draw the neck a little bit longer. And we're thinking about this left shoulder being heavy and dropping in the opposite direction. Breathing as if into those neck muscles. Imagine the breath could travel there, give them a nice massage. And then we're going to turn our gaze down a little bit towards the floor on that right side. Move the hands more to the back of the head. So this will change the angle of the stretch. Breathe into it. And I actually quite like sometimes to just move a little bit between those 2 points. So just a little gentle movement. Almost like I'm ironing out the neck. Good. And then come back onto the side. Release that right arm down and gently bring the head back to center. Let's roll the shoulders up, back and down a couple of times. Might feel quite different on one side to the other. Good. We'll go the other way. So left ear to left shoulder. You may want to hold onto your chair or reach the hand away from you. Left arm comes up, gentle weight of the arm to just lengthen the sides of the neck. So if you've still got your cushion in between your legs, you're still lightly holding, not really squeezing, just lightly holding. Sit up nice and tall through the spine. Good. I'm going to look down towards the left and change the position of the hands that comes to rest more on the back of the head. No force, just gentle. And if you want a little bit of movement, you can just move the angle of the head. As long as it feels good, feels releasing, you can kind of play around with that a little bit. See if you can relax the jaw while you do this. I always forget to say that when I'm talking, because obviously I'm using it, but every time I practice without speaking, I always notice my jaw gets tight. Just relax the jaw. Good. Head onto the side and then release the left arm and come all the way up to center. Drop the chin to the chest. Interlace the hands behind the head this time and let the elbows hang forwards to get a gentle stretch at the back of the neck. Nice long spine to start with, so it's just the neck. I love this one. And if you want to go into a little bit of a rounded spine, depending on how big baby is, how much room you've got, you can just let the spine curve a little bit now if you want. And then sit tall, take the elbows out wide, lift the chest, release the hands and bring them all the way down to the sides. Okay, I'm going to come up to stand. So changing position with pelvic girdle pain, you need to be very careful that you put pressure evenly through your legs. So sitting on the edge of the chair like this is good. And then you want to lean forward, push off with your hands and come up to stand. So whenever you get up from anywhere. So really important. We're going to use the chair just a little bit more. I'm going to turn mine to the side so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to keep a cushion between the knees, but not sticking out behind you too far. So my cushion comes all the way up to my pelvis and all the way down to my knees. I've just pushed it forwards a little bit there. Okay, so this can be done if you don't want to work on pelvic girdle. You can just release on pelvic strength. You can release the cushion and just come to a slightly wider stance here with your feet. So whichever you prefer. We're going to do some little chair poses. So what we're going to work on doing is dropping our bottom back towards the chair as we reach our arms out in front of us. And actually, I'm going to walk a bit further forward so my bum comes towards the chair. See if you can just lightly graze the chair with your bum and then come back up again to standing. So as I sit back, I'm reaching forwards a little bit, counter balance, and then coming back up and standing tall. So let's inhale here. Let's exhale to sit down and then inhale back up. Good, just keep going. Now when you come back up to the top, see if you can clench your buttocks and just press your pelvis forwards a little bit. Actually, not breathing works here. Inhale down. Yeah, exhale up. Press the pelvis forwards as you squeeze your glutes. So the glute muscles, the buttock muscles, they help to stabilize the pelvis. It's really useful to work on glute strength if you've got pelvic girdle pain. So really good to find a little bit of engagement in the bottom. So as you inhale, soften the pelvic floor, think about it broadening. Exhale, we're going to engage the glutes, push the pelvis just a little bit forwards. Good. We'll just do 2 more because these are quite tough when you're heavy. You've got a lot of weight going through those legs. 1 more. Good. Okay. We'll release the cushion, and then we're going to come around to the back of our chair. So I'm just going to move mine forward so you can see me, but don't do too much chair moving yourselves. So we're going to come to a nice shoulder stretch using the chair. So you want to walk your feet back, have them about hip distance wide, maybe a little wider, and start to lower your body so that your shoulders are in line with your hands and your tailbone. Now your chair might be shorter or taller than my chair. You can use a wall. If you've got a handy wall, you don't have to use a chair. So you want to be in an L shape, sort of upside down L shape really. You don't want your arms to be too high or too low. You just want to create that nice angle at the hips. So just take a moment to get into a comfortable place. Ears are between the biceps. We're not dropping the head down. Bend the knees a little bit. And then just have a little moment to hang here. Just a little bit of hanging, just into those shoulders. So it's going to feel really nice and opening forward back from the shoulders, the chest. It's also quite a good place for baby if we're trying to get them to not necessarily flick from breech, but if we're trying to get the spine to flip towards our bellies. So we don't want them back to back necessarily. It's quite handy to try and get them back to belly. So just in hanging, allowing gravity to do that work. Yeah, a couple more breaths. And then pressing into the chair or the wall to come up. And then just gently walking your feet back in towards you. Okay, we're going to move our chairs so our mat is clear. So just do that carefully. Just off to the side. And then we're going to come to the back of our mats and take a few sun salutes, which work really well in pregnancy, and they're really good for pelvic girdle pain. I'm not going to do any lunges or anything on one leg. So you're going to take your feet hip distance or a little wider, if that feels good. Pelvic girdle pain, just keep them under your hips. You have the toes a little bit turned out if you like as well, can feel a bit more comfortable. Roll the shoulders back, soften those knees and grow a little taller. Bring the hands to touch at the heart center. So it's a lovely flowing sequence with the breath. Inhale to circle the arms overhead. Maybe lift the gaze. Exhale to fold forwards from the hips. We're going to bring our hands onto our thighs, just above the knees. A little bend in the knees. We're going to inhale and lift the chest and look forward. We're going to exhale and round as we scoop the tail underneath as much as we can. So round baby. Inhale, lift the chest, extend. And exhale, hugging in and rounding the spine. Take 1 more. And exhale. Inhale to relax. We're going to bring the hands down to the floor. Walk the hands forwards and bring your knees down to the mat. Just do that as carefully as you can. Knees can be a little wider than hips in pregnancy. Pelvic girdle pain, obviously, just keep them a little bit more under the hips. Hands flat to the floor, about shoulder distance wide. Spread the fingers nice and wide and push into the fingertips rather than pressing into the wrists. Inhale. Exhale, rounding into that lovely cat stretch. Slide the shoulder blades apart, tuck the chin. Inhale, lift the chest and let the tailbone just stay neutral. Hug baby in just a little bit to the spine. Exhale, round, and we're going to press back towards the heels. Hips to the heels. As you inhale and come forward, chest can stay fairly low to the floor. Push the ground away and come up with a straight spine. And then lift the chest and look forwards. Exhale to round and sit back. Inhale to come forwards. So if you want to work the arms and the shoulders, you're coming a little lower to the floor before you press up. If you're tired and you want to just take it a little bit easier, then you can just come straight forwards. You don't have to go low. We do get a little bit tired sometimes, and you're a lot heavier than you normally are. Just listen to your body. Good. Then we're going to come back into child's pose, and we're just going to stay there. So knees a bit wider than the hips. Oh. Got low back strain. Knees a bit wider than the hips. Press yourself back, and you can always bring in any pillows and things that you like here to support you and lift your chest a little bit in child's pose. So just take a pause, let the belly be heavy, let baby relax. Those muscles all around the belly, just let them soften. Breathe into the back body. And as you exhale, just a sense of letting go and dropping in. And about 5 breaths here. Nice long breaths. And then we're going to come up. So just turning the head back to center, walking the hands in. Shift the pillows off to the side. Hands back down, coming onto tabletop again. Tucking the toes underneath. And then just use that transition through down dog to bring yourself back up. So if you are Chantel, I would say probably don't worry about going into downward dog, just walk with your hands in. And if you like a downward dog, you can lift the hips, have nice soft knees, just take a moment in downward dog, and then walking the hands in as you bend the knees. We're going to walk all the way up the legs, so keep that spine rounded as you unpeel and come all the way back up to the top. Lovely. Just take a moment to breathe, bring the hands back to the heart center. We'll just do one more round, just a tiny bit quicker. So inhale, reaching up. Exhale, bending the knees and folding from the hips, hands come to the thighs. Inhale, lift the chest. Lengthen the heart forwards, lift the gaze, and exhale, round. These little cat cows here. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Think about widening the pelvic floor, shortening the pelvic floor. So sitting bones moving apart, pelvic floor widens, sitting bones moving together, pelvic floor shortens. We're going to come all the way down to the floor, walk the hands forwards, come back onto all fours, nice and carefully. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, round the spine, press back with that lovely curved spine towards the heels. Take those knees a little wider if you need to. Inhale, coming forward, you can stay low, press the ground away, or you can just leave out that little bit and come forward at the same height as your tabletop. So what I love about yoga and why I recommend it to everyone for everything is that you really develop a sense of listening to your body. And that's important. You know, what does your body need right now? Does it need to work harder? Does it need to relax? And in our culture, we tend to say we always need to work harder. You know, not doing enough really is how we feel all the time. So just be aware of that and see why you're doing more. If it comes from a genuine place that you have loads of energy and it feels really good, then great. And then come back into child's pose. Everybody rest. If you want to support yourself in child's pose, bringing in some pillows, whatever you've got available. Just a little bit of space for baby, so don't bring them too close in. Maybe turn the head the other way this time. About 5 nice deep breaths here. Dropping in with the exhale. Just softening, releasing, letting go, and even down into the pelvic floor. So as you're sitting like this, your sitting bones are sticking out behind you. You could even reach around and just take a hold and find those sitting bones, those bony bits at the bottom. And just notice how far apart they are. And as you breathe in and breathe out, Just see if you can soften and relax them. The space in between them, the pelvic floor, just softening, really letting go. It's as important to relax the muscles of the pelvic floor as it is to work them. You don't want them to be over tight. You want them to be nice and healthy and responsive. One more breath. And then sliding your hands back in, pressing yourself up. Now, if you are suffering from pelvic girdle pain, you're going to bring one of your cushions, I'm going to take a smaller one, in between your legs again and come up onto your knees. If you're not and you want to do some hip opening, you're going to bring your right foot forwards into a lunge. Okay, so just listen to your body, whichever one feels right for you. You want to keep that right foot a little out to the side, so nice and wide. So either or, I'm going to do the first version here. We're going to do the same arms. Okay, so the lunging people, you're going to come up, so press your hand onto your thigh to come all the way up so that you're standing on your back knee. And then we're all going to bring our hands to heart center. If you have your cushion between your thighs, just a little sense of hugging that cushion in. Then we're going to inhale to circle the arms up high. Lift the heart and lengthen, and then exhale to circle the arms back behind you. Interlace the hands, roll the shoulders open and lift the chest. And breathe. So just a gentle hugging in of your cushion if you are on your knees. Good, we're going to release that. You're going to bring the hands forwards in front of us, palms touching. So if you have your cushion, you're going to keep your gentle pressure on the cushion with both hip bones facing forwards. Inhale. Then as we exhale, we're going to draw that right hand back like we're drawing back a bow and open the chest to the side. So you don't want the pelvis to twist. We're going to try to keep the pelvis to the front. And then bring that arm up and over, back to the left. So draw it back as you inhale, open the chest, exhale, up and over. And obviously if you're lunging, same thing. Don't go too deep into the lunge, you just keep it nice and contained. Relaxing does the job of opening the joints in pregnancy. You don't have to do too much more. Good, well done. Okay, hands to the heart. If you're on one leg, you're going to bring your hands down and step that leg back. If you're on both knees, you're just going to come back down onto all fours from there. You might need to move the cushion so you can widen the knees. And then we're just going to take a little wag from side to side of our tail. So you're going to shorten one side of your waist, push your hips over to one side and look around to that side, and then do the same on the opposite side. Just a little tail wag, as much of a movement as feels good. So if it feels a little bit too much for you, then just do it really small. Just a really gentle feeling of wagging that tail. And you can imagine you've got a great big luscious cheetah tail and you're just really showing it off, wagging it from side to side. Good, come back into the center and we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So left leg forwards or up onto both knees, cushion in between those thighs. And we're going to inhale to circle the arms up. Exhale all the way back. Interlace them the other way up if you can. So other hand on top. Roll the shoulders open, the chest and breathe. Squeeze those shoulder blades. Good. Release the arms, bring them forwards in front of you. So we're going to inhale. As we exhale, we're going to draw the other hand. So left hand back behind us and then up and over. So draw it back, inhale, keeping those hip bones to the front. And then exhale. Inhale. Exhale, good. Really nice controlled movements and that rotation in the chest. Do one more. Good, and then coming all the way back down. So if you are lunging, you're going to step your foot back. Otherwise, we're just going to come onto all fours, remove the cushion. Take the knees a little wider and come into puppy pose. So hands forwards and a bit wider and forehead down to the mat. So Chantal, these kind of forward leaning poses can help baby move, give them a bit more space to turn. So quite a lot of the spinning baby stuff is all about giving the baby some room to turn. So obviously if they're head down and in the right position, you don't really want them to move, but you do want them to move. So you're going to see if you can just really relax here in puppy pose and just allow the belly to soften, and just think about what gravity is doing. It's drawing the baby back up out of the pelvis, and it's just letting the belly hang, so there's space. So you never know. Breathe in. Good, and then walking the hands back in towards you. We're going to come over onto our side and just do a little exercise for the glutes. You need 2 cushions, so you need one, it doesn't matter which side, you need both sides. You do 1 cushion under your head and 1 cushion in between your legs. And you want to be supporting the whole of the top leg if you can, as much of the top leg as you can with your cushion. So come down with your underneath arm stretched out forwards in front of you, cushion supporting the head. You might want something under the baby bump if you've got something handy and that feels better for you, to just support them there on the side. To just play around with what you've got available to you. No pelvic girdle pain, you don't necessarily need a cushion here. We're going to do a few little clams. So just bring your knees up a little higher so that they're more in line with your hips, as long as you've got space. And it's hard, it's so hard when you've got a bump in the way. Everything's hard, isn't it? It takes forever to get into any new position. Just bend your underneath elbow and bring your top arm just to the floor to support you on your side. I want you to think about this top bottom muscle, this glute muscle here. And then you're just going to lift your knee a little tiny bit off the cushion. Now, if you've got really severe pelvic girdle pain, just be super gentle. So you just want an ever so slight lift, and you feel this bottom muscle engaging, and then back down again. That's all we're doing, like little clams. If you're perfectly comfortable in your pelvis, they can be a little bit of a bigger movement. So without moving at all the pelvis, all we're doing is moving the top leg. I just want you to maybe even bring that top hand onto the upper pelvic bone and make sure that it's staying completely still. And all you're doing is opening and closing the knees towards one another. You can inhale. Inhale to lift and exhale to close. Feels quite nice. Doesn't really matter which way around the breathing goes for this one, whatever works. Just one breath, one movement. Just do about 10 of those. Now I can feel it already, and I'm not pregnant. And just rest. Maybe take your hand to that bottom and give it a nice rub, nice massage. We're going to come into a thigh stretch. So you just see if you can bend that top leg, reach behind you, take hold of the foot, and draw the knee backwards a little bit. So you're getting a nice stretch across the front of the thigh. Breathe into that. And then release. Okay, we're going to come onto the other side. So it's probably easier just to roll over. So just to take that cushion between your legs and roll carefully onto the other side. So just be super careful if you've got pelvic girdle pain. Hug the cushion, come onto your back, and then just take your time to shift over onto the other side. So you're going to just do everything really mindfully. And then I'm going to turn around so you can see. The same thing on the other side. And I should have thought about this a little bit more, and ideally you'd be on your left side now, but draw your knees up a little higher and just support yourself with that top hand. And then we're just going to come into those exercises, those clams again. So the ankles, the feet stay together, just gentle lift and lowering. And we want to keep the pelvis really still. So maybe bring your top hand onto that upper hip bone and just make sure that you're not moving the pelvis. You're only moving the leg in the hip socket. And if you do it right, you don't need to lift that knee very hard to feel the glute muscles activating. Feel any pain in your sacroiliac joints in the lower back, really back off. You know, you don't have to do it. You could even just squeeze and release the pillow between your knees if that's what you feel. Just squeeze and release the pillow instead. There's always something else you can do. It's about making it work for you. Again, do about 10 clams or squeeze and releases. And you might feel it slightly differently on different sides. So we know we've got those two pelvic halves, so there's different things going on depending on, you know, the arrangement of your bones a little bit. That's where you might have some instability, and also the muscles being stronger on one side than the other. So just relax and give the bottom a little massage, maybe even like a little tap. I know I'm going over time a little bit here, but I did talk a lot at the beginning. Just massage anywhere that feels good. And that top hip, this sort of outer part of your leg bone, can get quite sore now in pelvic girdle pain. So it might be really nice to give it a little massage. And then see if you can reach behind you, take hold of the top of the foot, and bring the knee more in line with the hip as you stretch the front of the thigh. I always love the idea whenever you stretch any muscle to see if you can imagine breathing into it as you inhale and then relaxing it as you exhale. Almost like the breath goes there and just draws away the tension. Okay, relaxing that, bringing that leg. Now, if you're on your left, you can stay here. If you'd like to, if you're under 30 weeks, you want to lay on your back, you can roll over onto your back. If you're on your right, you can stay here, but you might be more comfortable on your left. So just, you know, whatever you like. We're only here for a short period of time, so being on your right for a short period of time is okay. So just get comfy. We're going to relax here for a while. You want to make sure that your ankles are supported as well as your knees if you can, so that your legs are in a nice line. That's another thing that's really helpful with these long pregnancy pillows. You can actually get them in between the ankles and the knees and then up to the top of the legs, so that they really do support the whole legs in the same position when you're sleeping. So get yourself comfy. If you need anything else to make you feel comfortable, go ahead and take it, maybe a blanket, something like that. It's only just 5:30, so we're just spending 5 minutes here, just relaxing and taking a visualization. So I did a lovely yoga nidra earlier in my training, which is a guided yoga relaxation, and I just fell asleep for like 20 minutes. It's totally fine. If you feel tired, switch off and just don't listen to me and just relax. So just take a moment to settle. Take a moment to just bring your attention to the shape that your body is in, and all of the points of contact between you and the ground beneath you. So imagine that you are lying on that lovely memory foam topper that we talked about earlier. Nice, thick, squashy memory foam. It's just going to support you in all the right places and make you feel really comfortable and take the pressure off those achy bits. So because you're lovely and supported by the earth, you can really relax into it. Just make sure the head is relaxed and easy and the face is nice and soft. Smooth out the brow and around the eyes. Just allow those eyes to feel really nice and soft and easy and relaxed. So you're not clenching the eye muscles or frowning. Relax the jaw and the cheeks. Just let there be a little bit of space between the back teeth. And there's quite a lot of relationship between the jaw and the pelvic floor. So maybe even if you feel that there's some tightness in your jaw, just give the jaw a little wiggle. And just see if you can let it go a bit more. And as you do that, see if you can simultaneously soften into the pelvic floor, just a sense of the pelvic floor being nice and relaxed. Almost like those little subtle movements of the jaw were working there as well. Allowing the arms and the legs to feel very heavy and rest wherever they are. Just noticing that the feet are also soft and you've let go of any tension in the feet. Just notice now that your breath is rising and falling very naturally, almost as if the breath is breathing you. And just listening to the sound of the breath. To very, very, very quiet, smooth sound. Steady sound. And noticing that rising and falling. A really lovely visual image is to think about the waves on the shore. So as you inhale, the breath coming in and down to the body, it's almost like you're breathing those waves in towards you. So you just see them coming up the beach. And as you exhale, just allowing those waves to recede. Just noticing a natural, easy rise and fall. And we can't control the waves, the movement of the sea, the ocean. Just like we can't control things that happen to us during our pregnancy, our labour, our delivery. But just notice how the water of those waves, as it comes in and goes out, it's just finding its way. It just runs into any dips and between any stones and around the rocks. And then as it recedes, it just flows away around everything in its path. And it's easy, and it's natural, it's fluid. And rather than trying to push against and force its own path, it just moves with and around whatever's in its way. You know, those qualities, that fluidity, that sense of flowing around obstacles. It's a really great image to tap into. When we need to be a little bit like that ourselves. And there's a real sense of giving in and releasing into that flow. Just letting life take us, letting the circumstances take us and just flowing with it, finding our way around without any difficulty. Know that we will get there, we will travel, we will move like the waves, like water. And just like our surges that we have during our labour, it's like waves. Everything comes and everything recedes. A really good image for labour and delivery. The idea of water and waves moving and flowing. You are made of so much liquid, so much fluid, 90% liquid, and especially when you're pregnant, extra fluid, all that amniotic fluid, all that extra blood. You are a fluid being. You can flow with this. You can flow around this. You will find your way. So just taking a few breaths now in silence, feeling into those qualities and imagining that image of the waves. And if you're happy to remain here, you just want to rest a little bit longer. Just don't worry about coming up, coming back. You can just stay here and tune me out. If you want to slowly let that image fade and start to become a little bit more aware of your body and the room that you are in, just in terms of your space, your place within it, the shape that you're in. The breath becoming just a little bit more energizing, maybe a little quicker, a little deeper, just to feel that you're starting to invigorate once again. Start with some little movements of the fingers and toes, just seeing how everything feels. Spreading the fingers and toes wide, wriggling them. And taking just a little bit of gentle movement, however you need. Always being careful when we transition. So we're down on the floor, using your arms, your hands to gently bring yourself up to seated. Walking them in, taking your time to come to a seated position. And if you are comfortable with crossed legs, you can have your legs crossed or even legs out in front of you, or soles of the feet together, knees a little bit wide, just whatever works for you right now. We're only going to be here for a couple of moments. Place one hand on your heart center, one hand over baby. Closing those eyes if they're not still closed and growing a little taller through the crown of the head. And I just want you to take a moment to talk to your baby and just tell your baby that everything is going to be all right. So no matter what type of birth you end up having, no matter what comes up, I just want you to reassure them because they feel your anxiety. So just mentally inside your mind, just soothe them, just talk to them, just tell them it's going to be okay. We've got this. You're going to be okay. I'm going to look after you. We can do it together. Whatever happens. And then gently let those hands come back down to your thighs. Take a nice deep breath in. Let it go with a big sigh. And let the eyes flick open. So I hope that was useful. There's lots of different stuff going on with you all. So trying to cover a little bit of everything. By all means, stay on if you want to and chat, or send me an email or a message or something. And yeah, I will try and, I've got this class recorded, so the pelvic girdle people, if you want me to, let me know and I'll send you the link. I won't send it automatically, but just let me know if you want it. Yeah, Chantal, just let me know how it goes, like what they say, and how you get on when you've processed it a bit more. And hopefully I'll see you all soon. I love it when you tell me what you need, because it means that I can plan for you. So do let me know if there's anything you need. And I'll just go over here and just look at you all, because I can see all your lovely faces. Oh, you can see me on my other laptop. There you go. So look after yourselves. Have a nice week. And yeah, I hope it improves, Chantal, for you. Okay, guys. Lots of love. Bye.